All right, Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy way to kick off the 2024 season. Let's get a thought from you on how camp has been and turn your attention now to game one.
Camp went by quickly. That's a good thing, for sure. We're relatively healthy. I say that, there are people who have been nicked up and a couple surgeries. But relatively with 119 guys, feel good about getting into game week. And I also feel really good about how we've come together and assimilated, 53 new players, most of which goes back to January. But nonetheless, that ends up being nearly half the team of people who weren't with us last fall. And so I think we've gotten better pretty much every day. And we are really excited about getting started.
Tom, you want to kick us off?
Coach, have you named a starting quarterback yet for this first game?
Cole Snyder is going to start for us this week.
And he has a great deal of experience. How has he adjusted? I know you've had time to work with him, but how has he fit into your scheme, and what does he bring to this squad offensively?
Yeah, I know people always, want to get to that part, but first, he's just an excellent fit for our program in terms of our culture and who he is, his character. He is very mature. He's very serious about football. He's a guy that takes copious notes and is in the building outside of, time where we're going through meetings and practice. And so feel really good just about his experience, having obviously been in the MAC for 2 seasons. He's just a seasoned veteran. And then real smart football player. He is always classify, guys with, you want the ball in his hands in terms of running it all the way down to, can you maneuver in the pocket? He's somebody who can keep a defense honest, running the ball. Like if you're not going to pay attention to him, then he'll be able to hurt you. But his arm, right, in terms of his physical ability is his strength and accurate. Again, just really studies football and so knows where to go with the ball, and we're excited about it.
How have you felt about your backfield replacing Jalen Jackson and Samson Evans? A lot of production there. How are you feeling about your running back core?
Yeah, that's another position, that's going to be new. I mean, Dante McMillan got some reps towards the end of last season and did real well. And so, he and Delbert Mims and then Elijah Jackson Anderson are really in our top 3 spots right now. And we feel really good about it. We really do. Dante runs the ball like violently. He runs hard and he's got good speed. And then, Dell is the most like Samson in that, he is, he can get the hard yards. He can be an every down back as well. But he can be a load. And then Elijah Jackson Anderson is just so explosive. And so the combination of those 3 guys, and it doesn't stop at those 3, but those would be the top 3 right now.
You gave the deuce to Oren, man Singleton. Traditionally, that's gone to a senior. You kind of went away from that trend. What did you see in Singleton as far as him wearing the deuce? And if you could give us some background into the name Man.
Yeah, so he's earned it, and it goes to our most senior and best player, at the wide receiver position. And as you know, we've done it to a junior before at tight end with Thomas Odukoye. He certainly has earned it. Got here in January. He's been electric. I think, our team just started talking about him within a few days after he was here. They probably went out into the bubble and, were throwing and whatnot. Got to recruit him out of Hutch Junior College. And now that he's been here for, 8-9 months, I think he's going to be a tough matchup for people, tough to cover. Quiet, loves football, great teammate, just goes about his business. He's got one of those fires that burn, but again, he's not a real loud, bring attention to myself kind of guy. And I can let you know about his nickname, but that came, about 21 years ago, So, yeah, but we're sure glad he's with us.
UMass has really prided themselves in becoming a faster team this year with some guys that we know. C.J. Hester from Western Michigan, Sterling Galvan, we saw him at Jacksonville State. They seem to want to play a much faster tempo, faster style of football. How are you feeling defensively about the matchup, and could you talk a little bit about the defense you're putting on the field in game one?
Yeah, well, I feel really good about our defense. We, starting on the defensive line and starting from the inside out, not only do you have a Peyton Price and a Melvin Swindle who've been here for 4 years and played a lot of football here and, play at a high level. We've brought in 3 transfers that were all starting, at their previous institutions, and so have experience and have really been great additions. And so we really feel as though we've bolstered, the inside of our defensive line. And then we were super thin last year, mostly due to injury at defensive end, and that was part of the genesis of Justin Jefferson moving to defensive end, and you got Joey Zielinski, but Carter Evans, was injured. Jaden Gaines, going back to last year, was injured, and Malik Bogard was injured, and then Sterling Miles, was injured, and so not only getting guys healthy, but then we've also got a transfer at that spot too with Jeff Adam. And then you've got, just the development of guys like Messiah Blair and Luke Fletcher, who were freshmen last year, who are growing up. So just feels as though we have more depth. And then, our 2 returning starters from last year are both back on the D-line.
Defensive secondary, look, Daquan White had a fabulous year last year. Now you got a healthy Joshua Scott, which really seems to give you a lot of depth back there. And it just seems like you're in a good position in the defensive secondary. Do you feel that way?
We certainly missed Josh Scott, last year. Had an injury, and he's 100% healthy and playing at a really high level. And then, Daquan obviously came in as a freshman and ended up playing the entire season and played really well and has improved for sure in his first off season with us. And then we feel really good about our recruiting, and we've had some transfer help there too, but then also bringing in a good group of guys and developing them. And, Dramarian McNulty, who came from Mississippi Junior College, has just been an amazing fit and a really good player. And so excited about him. But Jaheim Jenkins has really had a great camp, and Jordan Toney, who was a freshman who got here, back in January. So those guys, talking about the corner position. And then at safety, you got Quintavious Gandrit, who's played a lot of football, which we're super excited about him. And then Jason Marshall and David Carter. David Carter has just been so consistent, can play both positions back there, and just really feel great about his experience. And then, Jason Marshall's had a fantastic camp. And then we do have a couple of guys who are nicked up at that spot. And then at linebacker, we lost our 2 starters, and I think both top 10 in the country in tackles and whatnot. And so, way back to January, we knew that was a position that we need to bring folks in, and we did, and feel really good about it. You got Zach Mochin and Kendrick Nowling both returning, scholarship guys that we feel really good about, and then a JT Killen and a James Junkum and Luke Murphy have all been really good fits. I think Coach Needham does a really good job with figuring out what they're all best at and putting them in positions to be successful. So, again, there's a lot of new faces, but our culture has been super solid, and those guys have been attracted to that. We've found the right people that want to be a part of who Eastern Michigan football is and what we're all about, and so it's been really good. We feel really good about our defense.
Final question for me, just your general thoughts on UMass and how it is. I mean, you guys are very familiar with them. This will be the 4th straight year we've played against UMass. Do you prepare more for what you know out of the scheme? Because it seems like it's hard with so many transfers, especially in like their defensive secondary. They brought in a lot of FCS guys. Is it harder to prepare when you really don't know the talent as much as what you think you're going to see scheme-wise?
Yeah, so I think that's going to be all college football. So the first, I've had a lot of first games of the season now, right? And you just never can forget that 8-9 months of preparation, new coaches, just all of that, the self-scouting of what they did well and what they want to improve on. And so you always have to be prepared for the unexpected in game one. More so than any other year with the transfer portal, now you not only have to worry about different schemes that can happen, now it's almost impossible to know what a team's personnel is going to be like. And so, they, like us, have got some new faces. And so, they're obviously very well coached, have a new offensive coordinator who we faced was Cole's offensive coordinator at Buffalo. Have great respect for him. He's really good at what he does. And of course, with Don Brown being their head coach and running their defense, they'll be really good on D. And so that, not that that's not going to change, but the coordinator hasn't changed in that way. So just first game of the year, they were sensational in their first game last year, went to New Mexico State, who ended up having a fantastic season and beat them at their place. And so this will be a huge battle.
Thank you.
Alex, before you, Howard Herman from the Berkshire Eagle couldn't join us, but his question was, how do you see the new clock rules impacting the game this year? And additionally with that, how your transition has been with the helmet-to-helmet communication?
Yeah, the clock rules really just going from 1 minute to 2 minutes. So it'll have double the effect, from 1 to 2 minutes, if that's what he's asking about. And then there's an additional timeout they're not calling it a 2-minute warning, but that's essentially what it's going to be. So we've practiced that. And I think if it had gone, last year was the sort of the new learning, if you will. So it's just going to be elongated this year is how we feel about it. And then the coach to player, we feel good about that. We've practiced it, every day, with the system that we have and whatnot. And I think that it's worked well. Sometimes in practice it's hard to shut it off at 15 seconds. So some of the conversations probably go longer than they will in a game. But yeah, that's definitely different. I personally think that it just cheapens it some, the coaching, right? Tell people what to do versus coach them, get them ready. But it is what it is, and that's how we're going.
Alex?
Coach, what would you say that you learned about your team throughout camp the past few weeks?
It's good. Learned a lot of things. I would just tell you, this isn't surprising, but I think they care about each other. I've seen that over and over, and they really do care about representing, this football program in a real positive light, on and off the field. I think that's something that's come forth throughout camp.
And obviously, the goals, of course, include winning the MAC championship and having so much more success afterwards. But what would you say the most immediate challenge for this team is as you guys enter 2024?
Outside of UMass, you mean?
Yeah, just as a season challenge.
Yeah, I think, with a bunch of new players, I've had to just remind myself that 53 guys from this point on, haven't done things with us, that I ordinarily would, not have to think about. And so that, that goes from how we sit in team meetings or, how we travel. But then, playing together, we're going to have some new faces out there. And I feel really good about camp. Went through the other night, we were closing camp about how many hours of meeting time and how many periods. We had 345 periods of practice, I think it was. Went through just how many punt reps, we've taken or all of those things. But the 2 live scrimmages, but, until you play, I think that there's going to be, not unknowns, but you don't gain experience until you do it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, yeah. I mean, especially at O-line too, that kind of leads to my next question. You're used to having, especially over the last couple of years, some guys who are 3rd, 4th, 5th year returning guys. Like Brian Dooley was a starter pre-COVID, right? And you have to replace him. And you don't have that same luxury where you have that, long time, like experienced guy up front to lean on, or a group of experienced guys. What's it going to be like for this O-line to kind of play up to that level that so many of those other guys before played up to?
Yeah, I think the O-line's a microcosm of the team in that way. But I would say that Brock Roman and Mickey Revelinsky, both, it's not been 5-year starters and all of that, but those guys have, experience for sure. But to your point, I would tell you this, we have a large number of guys that are above the line. That's one of the ways that I go about it, by position group, is like how many guys are ready to play, can play. And then, sorting that out, right? Who's going to start, who's going to be playing, who's playing inside and who's playing outside. Coach Coughlin has done a really good job with that. We feel as though we have talented players for sure, but, very little Eastern Michigan football experience. And so, again, that's just another, a microcosm of the greater whole of just we got to get out there and play.
Earlier you mentioned, we were talking about Warren Singleton. You said that he's unguardable. That's how you view him. What makes him unguardable, or what can make him unguardable? Is it his speed? Is it him being able to make catches in tight spaces? Like, what is it about him?
Yeah, no, he's cat quick. He can run for sure. He's got great hands. And then, one of the things that just gets overlooked, he's just smart. He's got his football intelligence, just his instinct and whatnot. I think he gets it, when you coach him and you tell him what to do and why we're doing it, he understands it. And so, his route running has purpose to it, very coachable. And so, I think he's the whole package.
And my last, one player that's going to be on UMass' side that you recognize, Tim Grant Randall, transferred this past year. What's it going to be like having to face someone that, you just, developed over the past couple of years too, and what else are you kind of expecting out of him and that defense that's going to be in front of your offense?
Like I said, they've been and will continue to be a really, really good defense, and he's starting for them, so he's obviously made a huge impact for them. And, Tim Grant Randall, this, you're going to get everything he's got. He brings it. He's super competitive, strong, cares, and so we're going to get everything he's got.
Yeah. So going back to new faces and new recruits, what are some players that stood out to you preseason that you weren't expecting, and who should fans be watching for the first game? Anyone specific?
Yeah, that's I wouldn't categorize it as like surprises, but like I would say new faces. I mean, we talk about man. Marcus Allen will also be a new face out at wide receiver that people haven't seen yet. Mac Indestead and Blake Buster to be, two faces that people haven't seen before. We talked about the running backs, the interior defensive linemen, that I mentioned, and then the linebackers. So I think that's that crew right there. The interior defensive linemen, they're all going to be rotating and playing a bunch, but I think that you'll hear their names. And then again, with the linebackers being new, other than Zach and Kendrick. our specialists, both return. We'll have a new long snapper. We have 2 long snappers that both are capable after, having Stephen Bird for, like 5, maybe 6 years there too with COVID. So, yeah, there'll be some new names and faces for people to get used to.
And can you highlight any areas of focus during fall camp that was crucial that you're going to implement into the game? Anything like that?
Yeah, our game goals are always, as a program, are going to be to win special teams and the turnover takeaway, ratio. And we work at those things incessantly. They're both a huge part of our culture. Our guys, they believe in it because they know that it dictates outcomes of games. And so I think that that's been definitely a focus in camp and something that absolutely needs to come to fruition, on Saturday. Yep.
Coach, you retweeted Odukoya chasing down to make a tackle in a preseason game. Unbelievable effort by him. What do you feel when you watch a play like that, and that's a guy that came through your program?
Yeah, it's just total pride. You know what I mean? It's just he's really doing well. We have a coach, former coach from here, who's with the Titans, and so we'll see how it all plays out. But we're really obviously pulling for him in his 3rd year. But that, I don't know how many yards he ran, but it's
Felt like 100.
yeah. Oh, it had to be more than that,
Yeah.
right? Because he started on the left side and came all the way back around, was just awesome. But it's when our guys are being described, by media or by coaches in interviews and whatnot, it's the relentless effort, and just being awesome teammates, and obviously they're incredibly talented. And so, it's we're super proud of them. And we, our guys, we share that. We got a lot of guys who are on NFL rosters right now, and so I'm hoping that tomorrow goes well.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks for your time today.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Amen. All you.
Welcome to Eastern Michigan. First of all, the name Man Man. Can you tell us the story behind that?
I first got the name when I was born. My auntie had gave it to me when I first came out of the womb. She was like, Man Man, and it just stuck with me.
Coach talked about you being unguardable. If you were to describe your own style of play, what do you bring to this offense?
I think I could be electric for the offense. Just bring electric to the offense.
How's your chemistry been with Cole Snyder?
Cole, he's a great person on and off the field. He's a great teammate. So just being able to play with him and how he take football serious, you want that guy as your quarterback.
As you guys have looked at UMass and started preparing for them, what have you seen out of them defensively?
I think they're a great defense, and you don't want to take them lightly. But I think our offense, the way we come together as the offense, I think we'll be able to win.
Why did you feel like you'd be a good fit for Eastern Michigan? Why did you like it here?
When I took my visit, the way the team is, the way they compete, I just want to be a part of this team program.
What does the deuce mean to you? It's a special number here at Eastern Michigan. What does it mean for you to be able to wear that number this season?
It means a lot. It's an honor to rock the deuce at Eastern. The way the guys talk about the deuce, the way D. Reed talked about his son, describing his son, the way he loves to compete. It's an honor to wear the deuce.
Have you set any personal goals for yourself this season, what you'd like to achieve?
No, sir. Not this season.
Just catch the ball, score touchdowns?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is your second stop in this conference. Went from Akron Junior College in here. How much do you look at this as like a second chance for you to have the college career that you wanted to in the first place?
I do look at it as a second chance. The way coach, he gave me an opportunity to come to Eastern, so it's a blessing to be here.
And I know staying out here is it's probably not easy to be far away from home in Florida, right?
Nah.
What would you say about living out here in the Midwest, competing with these kind of guys, and like having like living in the culture that you're in right now, like how different is that from like back home in Florida?
I mean, my teammates, they make it feel like home. So like we on and off the field, like we always together, going out to eat, playing the game together. So it feels like home.
How do you feel about like the rest of your receiving room, and how do you fit in with them, and how do you feel like the other guys around you are also gonna contribute and make plays with you?
The way we compete at practice, the way we push each other to be great every day. I mean, it's a great room. It's one of the best rooms I've been a part of.
Yeah. Is there like anybody, like one of your receivers or maybe one of the cornerbacks that you're doing one-on-ones with? You know, is there anybody that like comes to mind that's probably pushed you the most since you've shown up here?
Joshua Scott, he's been one of them ones. Daquan, Marcus Allen, Terry Lockett. I mean, it's a lot. I can go on. Them guys, they push me every day to be great.
Obviously, you know, this will be my last one. We're starting up the season finally, going to UMass this week. What are you looking forward to most to get your EMU career off to the right start?
I just playing together with the guys, being able to go against somebody else instead of your teammate. I mean, just to see the way we're gonna come together and try to get this win. We're gonna get this win. Like it's gonna be exciting.
Thank you.
How have you been preparing for your season opener game? And what are your expectations for the game?
I just want to win with my teammates. I don't really have no goals. I just want to win with my
Any good
teammates.
expectation? Yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you.